Sketchbook time! And today I am just going to be showing some of the sketches I did when I went with my friend to the Natural History Museum here in New York, the American Natural History Museum. So yeah, these were some sketches I did for an art study just to kind of get used to some animal stuff. So let's hop right in. So the first set of sketches I actually did were before I even got to the museum. I wanted to kind of do a before and after so you could kind of see what I started out with and how I kind of improved. So the first page, and I did these all on the train, so I'm just, fascinated that, as the train was jostling around, I was able to get these drawings done. So as you can see on the left side, I drew some dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, so doing these kinds of sketches, I always felt kind of comfortable with. They're not perfect, obviously. I feel like these two are the best. This guy's a little goofy. But yeah, just some basic dinosaur designs. On the right side here, I ended up drawing more animals. You're actually going to see that some of these animals actually were part of my art study this time around when I went to the museum. As I said before, I went with my friend Sophia, so I will be adding her social media page, her Instagram, in the link down in the description below, so you could definitely go check her out. But yeah, so, I did different kinds of sketches. I did a bear, I did an elephant, I did some kind of bird. I kind of got inspiration from, secretary birds, but this clearly isn't a secretary bird. Just a little cartoon snake, a turtle, and a walrus. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do a lot of video recording this time around when I went to the Natural History Museum. I do have some photos of the various exhibits I worked on. So what I'll be doing is that when I show an image, you're going to kind of see the animal next to it. So the first one I kind of did an elephant art study as I showed in the prior video. As I showed earlier, I did do a sketch on the train of an elephant, and as you can tell, these came out a lot better. This is actually the same elephant done at two different angles. And I don't know, I think these came out really well. I actually had to take a break a few times because people wanted to keep getting photos with the elephants, with their families and stuff. So they ended up asking me if I could take a photo. And then actually that was kind of one of the fun things about doing this art study was that as I was kind of drawing, people were able to kind of interact with me, comment on the artwork. I got to interact with them and, make their trip more memorable. So that was kind of a fun part that wasn't even really intended or planned. Just kind of the social interaction about drawing out in more public spaces. But yeah, I was really happy how these elephants came out. I do think that there's still some work and some edits I could have done. I could have, for example, readjusted how the trunk looked so there was kind of not this scrunched up confusion here. And for the second image, I feel I could have done something better with the mouth, but I kind of just left it amorphous. And you'll see kind of a similar thing with the bear I did on the second page here, which it actually came out really well in my opinion. The head is very flat. I believe that this was an Alaskan brown bear I was drawing. It's one of my favorite dioramas at the museum. I think I was just mentioning it now, but the head was kind of flat. The claws were kind of done a bit weird. However, it came out in a way that I felt really good about. One thing I like that I noticed about bears, especially the Alaskan brown bear, their skull shape is actually really heart-shaped. I don't know if I'm the only one who sees that, but I don't know. It was just something that stood out to me, and I just really wanted to draw it. Next, I think these were the two best drawings. Let me see if I could scroll out. Yep, these were the two best drawings, in my opinion, from this day at the museum. I went to the ocean animals exhibit, specifically oceanic animals. And I saw these two dioramas next to each other. One of walruses, which have always been one of my favorites as a kid growing up, and one of a manatee. And yeah, I just kind of did some quick sketches of them each, kind of in succession. As you can see, this one, I date all my stuff. So this one was done at 2:28. This was done at 2:31. So it was only 3 minutes of work on each of these sketches, and they came out phenomenal, in my opinion. I did kind of seeing the before and after of the walrus, where I felt pretty spot on about the walrus I did before going to the museum, but it was just a small few changes I had to do here and there for the anatomy. But yeah, nothing more I can really say on it. I do think that these were the two best art pieces I made this trip. On the next page, there was actually a human exhibit in the oceanic section. It was basically showing how certain people fished underwater, which was really cool. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I wanted to also do kind of a human study. The dynamic gesture I'm going here, it was a bit too off. Like, he's a bit too upright. He should be more slanted down, but that was more of a byproduct of how much I put him on the left side. And I drew a dolphin from memory. My friend, she went over to the dolphin section and she was drawing it. So I got really curious and I was like, okay, let me just draw a dolphin from, kind of my mind space. And it came out pretty well, in my opinion. I didn't really compare it to the actual dolphins on exhibit. If I had to change something, I think I would make the head a bit more elongated. I think this kind of circular head kind of feels a bit too squished in. And unfortunately, I cannot show off the last sketch, just so, yeah, those are all the sketches from that first museum trip. I do want to make that more of a habit to kind of go to the museum and do sketches and make art vlogs of it. One, because I've loved going to the museums. I'm a huge museum kid, and New York has a ton of great museums. But two, there's just also a lot of stuff there that I can draw, and I don't want to draw everything in one day. I want to kind of take my time with certain art pieces and practice improving, Again, the sketchbook is intended to be an art study on animals and animal anatomy. So I do really like prioritizing kind of the quality that goes into this sketchbook specifically. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, this has been Fablevan, and I hope to see you all real soon.